What's up, my family? It's Michael here with Find Your Light, and today I want to talk about why and how to eat for ascension, the new reality that's shifting on this planet, and how to eat for true health. So in a lot of my videos I talk about juicing, and I talk about the raw foods, and I talk about sprouting, and I talk about all these very undense foods and what they do for our body. But there's a whole other level of why I found myself wanting to eat the way that I eat. And I haven't posted my testimony yet, but that is coming. But once I set down the path of, it's kind of like a buzzword, but I'm just gonna say it anyway, the spiritual awakening that I went through, awakening to the ego, awakening to 99.9% of what's ever been told to me is a complete fallacy, essentially a lie. But some of the things that were told to me were given, the information that was given to me was out of love, because the people that were giving it to me didn't understand the truth. So it's been a journey to get to where I'm at now, and I never saw myself being on a living foods, raw food diet. I never saw myself being here. And now I understand why I'm here. Because also what I went through emotionally and spiritually and physically and kind of cosmically, if I would not have been on the diet that I'm on now, or in the process of transitioning to where I am now, I feel as though my body and emotionally and a lot of other levels of my consciousness would be a lot more sick than what they are now, because of what I had to go through and what I had to release. If my physical body wasn't able to support what was happening, it would have been a much rougher time. And I see this in some of my peers around my age group. I'm in my early 30s. So I see it, and I consider my age group quite not like my parents' generation, but then there's like a generation below me. And I just kind of consider like that 10 to 15 span that I fall in, pretty much my age group, kind of like my generation. And I see it a lot. People are just disturbed, and we don't understand why. And it's not that I don't reach these spaces anymore, but when they reach me, I'm able to circum them and pass through them a lot easier. And with the understanding of what's actually happening, there's some tricks and some things that I've learned to guide myself through the process, which is why I'm making this video, because there's a lot of changes happening on this planet, and there's a lot of people out there saying a lot of the same things that I do. But a lot of the information is the same, but it's the way that we present it to the world. We get certain ears that pick up on how the information is presented to you or me, and sometimes we need different interpretations in order to follow a particular path within our own self. And that's why I'm doing these videos, is to shed my part to the world. So I ended up falling into a complete raw food diet about a year ago after my 18-day fast. And that 18-day fast that I set out to do longer, but for some circumstances and physically, I ended up breaking my fast on 18 days. And when I came out of that fast, I've just been raw ever since. And through the past year of being where I'm at, a lot of truth has been, shown to me and given to me, and an inner knowing has particularly developed. And it's the simplest way to view life is creation. How were we created? How were we designed to live, and how were we designed to eat? How were we designed to connect to our higher self, our higher powers? And all of this has been hidden from us, and the information that is given to us, I call it being spoon-fed. The information that is given to us is never the truth, yet we are coming to a state of being, and we are coming into a time during this transition that one day there will be a time when the information that is given to us could quite possibly be the truth. But until that time happens, and it's certainly not yet, we must seek and we must dig. But the truth is starting to become easier and easier to access. We got YouTube, we got Facebook, we got people that are talking words that used to not be able to say a lot of the stuff that people are saying now due to a lot of backlash, and there's some other things that I don't want to get into. But we can now openly talk about these things because the knowledge, even the average person that doesn't really push the boundaries, is starting to realize, like, hey, this ain't it, right? The way that we've been brought up, the way that we are, just isn't it. Creation, my family, the way that we were designed is everything. So I do not push people towards eating a particular way. All I can say is that the living foods, the live, raw, living foods created by our Creator, the sun cooks them for us. The sun creates them for us. The Mother Earth provides the nutrients and the energies for us. The earth, the air, the fire, the 5 elements are all found in these living foods. And when we go cooking them, we kill the energy that is created in these foods. And it's not so much the proteins and the carbs and the vitamins and the trace minerals and all the phytonutrients. Yeah, that's all a huge part of the way that I eat. But the most important thing that I am still coming to understand is the frequency in the food. There is a frequency in these foods, and I call it the creation frequency. Biophoton frequency is a scientific name of saying it. I consider it like, hey, if you want to call God, you know that word, a lot of people have different names. Okay, creation, right? Creation energy is in these foods, my family. Untainted by man, untouched. An apple that falls off the tree is ready for you to eat. Yes, modern times has brought us to the point where we need to get an apple from Washington State across the country, and it takes 2 weeks to get to your plate. That's the world that we live in. But we must do the best in every circumstance that we can. No matter where we are and who we are, if we fall under that ideology that no matter where I am, I'm always gonna pick the highest vibrational way of eating possible, no matter where I am. Now, you may fall into some place one day where you can't get a fresh fruit or vegetable anywhere because you're traveling somewhere or whatever. Me personally, I don't know if I'd go somewhere anymore, or there's ways around it. Fasting is a huge part of it. But realistically, you know, what we feed into our bodies is the path to becoming a higher self. And here's what I want to really, the basis of this video is we pray. A lot of religions out there, we pray, you know, whatever way of connecting to the energies out there that are here to help us of light and love, because they're out there. And I'm going to make some videos on my experiences up until this point of how I have come to realize what is really out there and how much I don't know. But with all that being said, when we put creation into our body, I want you to think of like you're an antenna. And when we put creation into our body, that antenna booster is being able to be broadcasted with a much higher frequency. So if you're a person that's praying, if you're a person that's connecting to the earth, to your higher self, to the other, if you're praying to the higher energies, whichever ones that you see, I don't want to put this into a box, details and names, just get the concept of what I'm saying here. If we put the living foods into our body, you will be at a higher frequency. You will be able to reach a greater distance. It's such a 3D way of looking at it, but it suits this. So look at it as like a distance. You'll be able to call in higher frequencies. More things will hear you. More will want to come to you. A higher consciousness will fall upon you because you're consuming a higher consciousness. Less dense nutritional living foods. Less dense is the key. with no suffering involved. And there's a way to navigate it when you fall into this kind of understanding. It takes a lot of research, takes a lot of information, it takes a lot of let going, and when you start to awaken up to your higher self inside, there's a lot that's going to shed. And it's not always fun. It's not always fun to go through our crap that has been built up inside of us since birth. But there is an inner knowing and an inner sense of relief and understanding that pushes you through it. And it's way better than being numb and asleep and blind to the reality that you used to be in. There is something happening on the planet. I have people calling me, asking me questions that I couldn't even believe. They're like, hey, did you know this? Did you know this? I read an article about this. Like, I can't believe it. And they're, it's normally like that 50s, people in their 60s, even I know. They read something and they're like, oh my gosh, like the food system, the education system, people are starting to realize that this is all a bunch of baloney. The way that we're eating, the way that we're told to live, people are waking up to the inner power that we have within us. And we can't put it into a box. And there's no real hoops or steps to jump through. That's the key. That's the beauty of it. The more we resort to creation, the more we resort to realizing that we are a walking, talking, breathing part of this Mother Earth, Gaia. That we are no different. I am no different from you. I'm literally speaking to myself right now. The more that I help you, the more I help myself. We are all one. And in order to tap into that oneness, the true oneness, it's a feeling that you cannot deny when you tap into it. And it's a shift. It's a shift internally. And I'm a man standing before you. Look at these tattoos that are covered on my body. Does this strike you as an individual that has always been speaking like this? Do these tattoos, the way that I might kind of perceive my persona now, do you really think that the same man maybe 5, 7 years ago would have been speaking these words? I mean, that's all I can really say. And in order to get to where I'm at now, I look down on where I was, and I don't even know who that was. And I cannot tell you enough that in that journey, if I would not have been supporting myself with the foods that I consume, with the juices, with the sprouts, with the living foods, with the enzymes, taking care of myself, the fasting, doing my best to control how much I eat and when I eat, and not partaking in the world anymore unless it's the new world. And resorting back to love. It is not something we show. It is not something we express with words. We start to speak less, feel more. That's where we're headed, my family. If you want to join the team, if you want to join the club, if you are already joining the club and you're having troubles, if you're waking up in the morning, stuff is dysfunctional inside of here, there's a lot of energy coming down to us. We are the new earth. We are people here at this time to help this earth and help those around of us. And if you get on board, everything will be okay. And these energies that are bouncing around in our head that we call anxiety, we call depression, we don't understand what's going on in here. We have to support ourselves. We need the tools within us, the energies. You bite a peach that fell from a tree and it's ripe. I mean, your brain just goes poof. You eat some sprouts. You drink a half gallon of juice in a day. I mean, you are clear. But until you get to that point, a lot of stuff's got to come out. The colon's got to be clean. We got to deal with our past. But what's going to support it are the foods. And always resort to Mother Nature. And we start to let go of conversations that don't serve us anymore, you know? I haven't had a TV in my house for like 5 years. It was the best decision of my life. I haven't watched the news in like 6 years. I go to the gym and I'm like doing my, you know, my warm up on the cardio or whatever, you know, and I like look up on the wall and it's all this like news stuff, and like I'm not even there anymore. It doesn't even make sense. It's a program, my family, to feed your minds with fear. All news, fear. It was designed, I don't want to get into it, what it was designed for. It was designed by a not so good group of people to control you. It feeds you nothing. Everything's in here. Make sure you put good food in here, good food in here, good food in here, good food in here, and good food on this. You think what we touch, what we put our bodies in, where we bathe, how we treat our bodies, what we put on our skin, all of this has to do with who we are. We are an accumulation of every single decision, thought, feeling we have ever had in our entire life, up until now. And your future is being made right now with those same choices that you are now, because that's your past. The past, present, and the future all happening right now. Nothing else exists but right now. My goal is for every human being, animal, and energy on this planet to wake up and stretch and wake up and love life. And food is so much. But food is not just this. Food is our life. What we put into our life. Be careful with your energies. Be careful with who you surround yourself with. It doesn't matter if it's family or blood. Until you are stable enough within yourself, don't bring them into your life. Separate for a while. There's nothing wrong with telling people, hey, I'm backing off for 6 months to get myself together. And you focus on yourself every day. I did that for like 2 or 3 years. People had no idea what was happening to me. I was just in my house restructuring myself. No one had any idea, except those that are very close to me. I literally got dismantled and had to put myself back again. And I recently just had to put myself back together all over again. But every time I have to do it, it's a little easier. Nothing is ever for certain. And be very careful who we bring into our life. Because as we transcend and we keep going, things are going to change. What's true to you now won't be true to you soon. What's true to you then will continue. The truth always is changing. We know nothing. My family, I love you so much, and thank you for listening to my channel. If you like, please click that subscribe button, and apparently now there's like this little button on YouTube, a little bell you gotta click, and then you get notified when you make a new video. I'm just really discovering how to even use all this stuff, so do me a favor, and I think that's real, a little button there you click, and then you get notified when you make a new video if you want to keep watching my videos. But I love every single one of you. And I'm going to start talking about my own personal waking experiences and what I did specifically to get through it and how I managed to get through it easily. So I'm going to be talking a lot about that kind of stuff because my testimony is my life, and that's what I have to offer the world. So my family, eat well, sleep well, love life, and take care of yourself, because taking care of yourself is taking care of the world. Peace, my family. Have a great day.